kind of meet that need of fulfilling that data gap, speaking and seeing data that comes from clicks and purchase data and pull through data and things like that? Did we kind of meet that need? I mean, was the data useful from a go-to-market strategy standpoint, and kind of how did you use it? Was it for go-to-market or just brand development?
So I'm going to answer the question in a few seconds. I think the first one was the purpose of the research. So the team is wanting to expand into different regions, so I'm going to use the example of where we used the US and Brazil research, not planning to expand to, but because the behavior of shoppers in South Africa is similar to that of the US when it comes to certain pet behaviors, and similar to Brazil in consumer culture, we wanted to use that as a benchmark to see how the behavior translates into sales. Because in addition to the research or the data that we got from you, that was about 5% of the work that we've done, because it just informed and quantified it. It then helps us understand what is the market shifting towards. So as an example is kitten or puppy food growing. Sorry, I'm getting into a bit of detail. So that's the first one, is to quantify where things are going. So the recent or the current project that Anthony's team is currently working with is where we're actually looking specifically at quantifying the opportunity, where we are looking to see, okay, we want to expand to Mozambique. Is it even worth it? So for us, we're now going to look at the data from Verified Market Research. You're going to tell us that the market size is $1 million. And we're going to say, okay, but for us to do a market expansion, it's going to cost us 3 million. So it helps us quantify that opportunity. Now we know, again, it's proxy data. A lot of that gives us a bit of a nuance, but, and that links to my second point, is that the data answer the question, yes, more than what we thought, because what really helped was the channel breakdown. Really helps us understand where that plays in. The second one is the subcategories. We call it BMC or subcategory that you guys read, which really helps us again with having that detailed breakdown. The other one was also the volume shift, and then also value, mainstream, premium, because we know that's also where some of that shift is going. So also not just value movement, but also volume, so that we can see inflation or deflation in categories. And so for us, I think to give you a answer on how accurate is your data or how does it compare to other data sources, I'll tell you after the current project with Zimbabwe and Mozambique. But I think as far as Brazil and US went, that was instrumental for us, and that was actually the I don't use the word linchpin, but that was the moment that we decided that for future projects we would prefer to work with Verified Market Research.
That's really helpful. Thanks for that context. How have you guys found this process? Is it from, identifying what you guys are looking for, working with our team to define a statement of work? Because what you're very helpful in defining what I would consider a more niche type space for us, right? It's something that we're not typically engaged in, but we do see this as a market penetration thing for us as a company to get into this space, to be able to offer this data to clients. How did you find the process? Were we able to kind of meet the needs of your statement of work or the product? Were you able to define it clearly for us? Anything that you have about that process?
I hope I define it clearly. I'm normally quite articulate in what I need. I think, to be honest, I would almost say the team over-delivered in what was needed. I almost want to say significantly over-delivered based on what was needed, not because I think just the way that the business is set up. I've also been on the data provision side where I looked after business intelligence. So you've got a standardized report, because that's the easiest way that you can just commoditize it. Right. Someone comes, I want to look for this, bump it in and send it out. It's difficult to do something specific, but in a lot of instances, I'm just looking for a specific number. And where with you guys, I couldn't just get the number, but I could get a report. And at that stage, we wanted to then quantify, is it worth paying for the report? And it actually ended up being that. So while the reports over-delivered, it actually provided us with that value to say, okay, hold on, it's actually worthwhile continuing. In terms of the process, very quick and easy. So I think I submitted the request. Anthony came back to me. I then gave a quick breakdown of exactly what I'm looking for. He went back to the team and say, okay, let's do these few things. Because in the one area I wasn't clear, I meant kitten and puppy. And anyway, so they sorted that out. And the team is very quick turnaround, very responsive, which made me feel like I'm incompetent. That's how quickly they were responding. Like, oh my gosh, they're waiting for me. But honestly, it's been an incredible experience. I think just what I want to link to Keith is The area that if you are doing any form of SEO optimization, any areas of expanding into the market, is there is a massive focus on market penetration in Middle East and Africa. When I say Middle East, I mean GCC, so Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, obviously not now in the current moment, but there's a massive focus from brands trying to expand there and into Africa. And when I say Africa, I mean Northeast, South, and West. I've worked with, in my previous role, I've worked with multiple companies in the US, in Thailand, in China, in Turkey, in Russia, wanting to enter into Africa, but none of them know what the market size is. So
Right.
if there is an area that I would recommend you guys focusing on is in your SEO optimization or search engine optimization, is to see where you can target that in your growth strategy. Focus on targeting companies that want to enter these markets. Because if you're targeting someone that's in the US, they're going to use Nielsen, they're going to use Euromonitor. There's more data that you can shake a stick at. But your unique selling proposition is Africa. And that is categorically, hand on heart, the most difficult area in the world to find any form of data on. And the level that you guys go into the data, I think that that will provide a unique point of view. You are now speaking about Cameroon in Africa. You're not going to see a month-on-month uptick because also we don't know how to measure that. You want to have a spotlight. I can't give you a spotlight in terms of data, but I can give you a candle in the room. It's not going to give you a lot of information, but it's going to give you some guiding light. And I think that is what verified market research does very well, is you have the ability to shine a light on what's technically a data black hole.
That's really helpful. You answered my next two questions in that same subset about, what we can do and how we can do. So that's incredibly helpful. Talk just quickly, how often do you guys buy reports? Is this something that you're purchasing reports against monthly trends, quarterly trends, when you're kind of trying to, as you mentioned before, launch a new product data? Are these reports that you usually buy on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, or semi-annually? What's the cadence that you usually buy?
Unfortunately, ad hoc. It's literally as a project comes up. Because for the business-to-business decisions on a day-to-day basis, a lot of that is going through Nielsen data, because that's more on the operational side, where the strategic decisions, which is the long-term decisions where Nielsen and Euromonitor can't help, those are the ad hoc conversations. So where your data helps is not in the decisions we're making today and tomorrow for next month. It's in the decisions we're making for the next 3, 5 to 10 years. So it's the shift in the approach of the data that we're using. I would love to say monthly, but that's not the way of operating. So at the moment, it's just ad hoc for specific categories.
The reason I ask is, one of the other models that we're presenting to some clients and looking at is more of just a subscription model, right? So there's a flat fee. You guys buy this package from us, and then it does avail you the opportunity to do this research as you see fit monthly. You basically get access into our database. It creates a subset of drop-down menus, and you guys kind of research those things at your own pace. So we're trying to play with what that model looks like for clients and how to offer it to clients. We see in this space, two things are happening. There's some consolidation of the way people buy reports. Obviously, the validity of those reports that you've alluded to is really crucial, right? I mean, how do you get access to these smaller markets that's true data? It's not data that's been filtered through a couple other places. So I think, one of the things I think, Anthony, and we can even send you more information on what that looks like if we haven't, to get clients, hey, here's a flat fee, you pay us a flat fee, and then you use the system as you see fit. So we've had some more uptake on that in clients, but we're always interested to get feedback from people as to, hey, does that make sense? Or are these just ad hoc projects,
If you want to go into the subscription model, please don't fall in the trap of saying we're going to give you everything, but then you can't go in one level deeper. People who use the data typically want to go one level deeper. What I would recommend is in your subscription model to not say you've got access to everything, to say you've got access to 5 categories, or you've got 10 categories on level 3, 5 on level 2 depth, and the rest of the categories on level 1. So because that depends on the depth that people want to use it. So as an example, if I were to subscribe on a modular level, let's say I do a 1-year or a 5-year subscription, then I know for us in RCL, we're focusing on mayonnaise, we're focusing on pet food, we're focusing on snacking and cereal. I'm going to say, okay, cool, I want to do a long-term subscription. I want to have these 5 categories on a really deep level, these ones maybe on a lighter level, and these ones on a very high level.
Right. Yeah, no, that's very helpful. And that's, something that we're playing out as a company too. What's the right level of access to be able to provide someone that
Yeah,
isn't just, that's still valuable, right? It creates the most
yeah,
value for them. It's the most feasible.
yeah.
Just one last question,
Mm.
to kind of finalize things. I mean, it sounds like you guys have been happy with the product. I mean, is there
Yeah.
anything from a process standpoint you'd like to see done differently, the way we engage you? Are we, to be really blunt, are we, you called out a good point. Are we over communicating with people, or is over communication in this way good? I mean, anything that you change in this process and going forward? Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your honesty. You've been really frank.
I'm South African. We're very frank, unfortunately. So we have a lot of people. To be honest, I think the thing you guys are doing a flipping amazing job, where I think you guys are brilliant at communicating. You're very clear, you're succinct. It's not overly explanatory. It's very easy to communicate. There's a lot of consistent communication, which I really appreciate. Because when you work in retail or you work with teams, things go crazy. And then it's 3-4 days and you haven't looked at your emails and you're like, oh, there's Anthony. Oh, crap, I need to get on top of it. And then it actually helps you. So for me, in that instance, that follow up, and again, it's not irritating. I think it's like once a week, once every 2 week follow up, and it actually helps you to keep things going. So for me, honestly, I don't like what I'm going to say next because I don't think this is helpful, but I wouldn't recommend changing anything. It's really working. You guys are doing a really brilliant job. The team is very responsive. They're friendly. They're good to engage with. It's genuinely an absolute pleasure to work with the team.
Thank you for that, and thank you both for taking the time. I mean, we really appreciate it. It's one of those things that we grow with what's working well, and you obviously get what we're driving at here to make this process better. But so thank you both for taking the time.